I'm your dad.
Let's go.
Get up on y'all. You're gonna learn today.
Daddy, chill. Daddy, chill.
Call me Daddy.
Yeah, talk during the intro, Teddy. Nice talking during the intro. You idiot. You mouth breathing. You Eli Manning looking motherfucker.
I fucked up.
All right, we're back. It's Thanksgiving week. We have a special guest today. I'll get to him in a second. I'll do a little quick hobby roundup. We've had some really good things happen in the hobby recently. Some big cards hit. Obviously, with us and the Drew Maggi hit, that was awesome. We overnighted that bad boy to PSA. It got a PSA 910. For all of you guys listening and all the people who say that, oh, of course, this card got sped through and zipped on through PSA. We paid over $400 to get that card graded with overnighted shipping.
Paid the premium.
Paid a premium. So if you're bitching and complaining about your cards not being graded and back to you on time, pay the price.
Money talks.
Money does talk. And I didn't even, listen, if Buck, if you're listening to this, that's the guy who hit the card.
Shout out to Buck.
I didn't even charge him. I paid that out of my own pocket because I knew we were going to get exposure through the PSA posting. I knew we were going to get exposure. We already have a ton through Twitter and all the other guys who have reposted the card. I didn't even tell him that. I just said, hey, it's covered. He thinks PSA did it for free. It was not. It was $390 for the grading fee. Plus, we had to ship that overnight to PSA. That's why it got done so quick. It looks great in a PSA slab. I'll never see that card ever again. It's getting sent off the Buck. It's gone.
Yeah.
It's gone, Teddy.
Aaron Hernandez.
Yeah, it's gone. Secondly, one thing that, I don't know, we might want to talk about with our guest here is recent news is Sports Card Therapist was caught shilling cards. I wasn't really aware of this guy, but now he was on my radar, but now he's off because he's completely deleted all of his social media platforms. We talked about this before the show. Kind of not a good look when you just completely disappear. It's basically you're basically saying you're guilty.
Card porn 2.0.
Card porn 2.0. Like card porn disappeared. Haven't heard from him. None of his associates have said anything. We haven't heard anything about if they knew anything about it. And so a lot of things are unraveling now with the Sports Card Therapist, but we'll talk about that another time. I want to get to our guest. I think for me, it's having you on, Nick. This is introduction here. Breakcompcards. BreakCompCards, correct?
Yeah, on Instagram and Twitter/X, yes. The website is breakcomp.com.
Breakcomp.com. And what Nick has done is he is bringing everybody full transparency with pricing, PYT, and breaks. So therefore, listen, it's already out there. You could do your own research, but it's great when you can bring it to a single platform and you can have everything dialed down to a T, to a fucking dollar of here's the cheapest breakers, here's the most expensive breakers, break at your own risk type thing, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, we're just trying to aggregate everything, bring it all in one location. I kind of got the idea from, the travel sites. I consider it like a kayak for the breaking world, or like a priceline.com, where we're bringing in prices and let the consumer, the collector, make the decisions based on the pricing, the data that we provide.
What was like the tipping point for you? Go like, I think this is needed in the hobby. I think we need it because I feel like it's been needed for years. I've always said that because back when we were getting things third and fourth market and competing with guys who are getting direct, and still to this day, like competing with guys getting direct on the Panini side, where I got to go, hey, this LCS, I know what they're getting these boxes for. I know what they're getting their boxes at, and I'm still trying to compete with them. I wish we had it back in 2020, 2021, because we would always we didn't want to like brag or boast about it, but we'd also be like, hey guys, compared to what we're paying, that we're very competitive in this market.
Yeah, unfortunately, we don't know to the dollar or anything what the other breakers are charging or anything. That's not kind of what we're about. We're about just, putting the data out there, the lowest price and everything. Obviously, the consumer knows, who's getting the product. We're not going to show bias towards any breaker or anything like that. We're just putting the data out there.
Now, so how did this start? Were you
Sure.
breaking?
Yeah, I don't get into breaks anymore just to avoid conflict of interest. I did get into breaks a few years ago, and I did have this idea, that this was needed, and kind of took the leap a few months ago. I saw the need, with the pricing websites, like Market Movers and Card Ladder. I respected what they do and everything, and the data, the price data of sold listings. And I just thought there was a need for this in the breaking world, to bring it all together, aggregate everything, because there's so many different platforms that people are breaking on. You have the individual websites, you have Whatnot, Fanatics Live, and the Instagram, Facebook, social media accounts. And all we're doing is, bringing it in one location, making it easier for people who want to buy into breaks.
Yeah, of course. Listen, this is coming from a breaker. I think that you've probably had, I can't imagine what kind of DMs you've seen, but I think it's great. Mm-hmm. And I think it's going to, it's already sort of made me better. It's kind of made myself think more for the consumer and go, oh shit, I was high on Topps Chrome update. All right, sorry. I feel like this is it's gonna make it, this is something that's made me better, right? You came out with your Topps Chrome update, Breakers Delight prices, and I was low on there, man. And I looked at that, I'm like, fuck, man, I gotta be better. So I adjusted. I switched my prices up. I went through and I go, all right, what can I do to make these teams cheaper? And because as a breaker, when we post things, we know the top 5 teams are going to get swooped up right away. It's almost like it doesn't matter what those teams are priced at because there's certain chases out there. So when I'm pricing these things out, it's hard because you're like, I don't want to drop these prices too low and shoot myself in the foot, but then I also don't want to overshoot and then be the last on your list because it is now. That's what it's come to. We talk about, we're like, hey, I wonder where we're going to fall on his list. And we fell low. But then what I did to counteract that, which your site made us better, right? What did we do right at the gates? I said, all right, Percy's are 260. Yep. I saw the lowest break on there was like around $26.50 for a case of Delight. And I said, all right, Percy's are 260. So we'll counteract that. Because there is a lot of work that goes into breaking a full case out, right? If people don't, there are people who have tried to do this. They've tried to be a breaker and they fail because they don't realize how much back end work is involved. The supplies, the shipping, the DMs, the constant interaction online of plugging spots, the fees. Like that's one thing I wanted to talk to you about. My biggest thing is I don't know if maybe you can somehow have this as an added interaction inside of your page is sort of like the levels of value, right? Where you go entertainment, shipping, merchandise, bounties, what other stuff? I mean, supplies. There's like this overall experience because I know there's guys out there that go. I know there's breakers out there that go, well, I'm just going to lowball everybody. I'm just going to undercut everybody. Just to look good. And then maybe on that first week and then maybe change my prices the very next day or just and then that breaker is being seen as like, oh, well, why is he the cheapest? Mm-hmm. But sometimes that breaker might not bring the best entertainment or value on other aspects or their shipping on time. We've dealt with things where we get into breaks on other people's channels, not naming names, on Fanatics Live, and they take 2 weeks to ship a package. While over here, we ship next day,
Yep.
no matter
Except
what.
the weekends.
Wow.
Except it's Saturday. If it's
That's
Saturday, like
impressive.
if we break on a Saturday, we're shipping Monday. We ship next day. So we see
Yeah.
that and we go, all right. Like that's one way that we our
out.
channel can stand out and go, oh yeah, we might be $300 more on this case break, but you're going to get your cards on a timing matter. We're going to take care of you, customer relations wise. We might throw in merch. Like there's other things that kind of go into it. So I didn't know if there was something that maybe if you guys are going to expand on it. Obviously, you guys are probably going to be growing and trying to do different things outside the box.
Yeah.
But I didn't know if that was something that you might be able to offer, like some sort of polls, right? Where people do polls and go, these guys are the best at shipping. These guys are the best. These are my favorite entertaining breakers. These are so like different sort of value forms.
Different
So,
categories.
different categories of value,
Sure. Yeah, that's a great point you bring up there. And yeah, I actually did another podcast a few days ago, and they brought that up too. Yeah, that is something we want to implement. It's kind of subjective and everything, but absolutely, that is something we want to implement. Yeah, we are going to be putting a lot of money into the back end and building out the technology in the next few months as well. To make this even more of an impressive site and great for both the breakers and the collectors, because we want feedback from both sides, and we have been getting feedback from both sides. And by the way, mostly to the positive. I have received some negative, very few though, to be honest with you. I thought I'd receive more, but I've also received tons of feedback on how to improve it.
That's good. I like that. I'm glad you get more positive than negative because I feel
Yeah.
one of my
positive
first
overall.
one of my first little questions here was like, what
Yeah.
kind of hate or negative feedback have you been getting? Because we already listen. You already had mentioned, I think on one of your posts that Leighton had blocked you,
Yep.
and I don't think that's a good look. I'm
It's not a good look.
I'm like so against blocking anybody. I've been blocked by Ken Golden. Don't know why. Maybe it's because I said it's because he sometimes he's the herpes of the hobby.
Nah, that
but-
can't be it.
Nah, that can't be it. But I just don't unless somebody talks about my family or goes after me directly on personal like physical
Agreed.
attacking,
Yes.
then I'll block them. But other than that, hey man, say what you want. And I go ahead.
Yeah, just to comment on that. Yeah, I'm not going to talk bad about any breakers or anything, but since you brought that part up, I did get blocked by Leighton. Honestly, I have no clue why. I've never even spoken to the company or the gentleman.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's a good look either, but yeah, I'm not going to talk bad about any breaker or anything. I'm trying to stay impartial with everything and all the breakers, and just let the data speak for themselves. That's what I'm here for.
Have you thought about going into like the other avenues, not just PYTs or just certain breaks, like posting, hey, this breaker, this is what their personal box prices are. This is what they're random. This is what their PYT, and sort of have some sort of like levels to it.
Yeah, we do actually. We have posted a few randoms in the past, and yeah, we do need to do that more. The reason we do more PNT is just because more breakers offer it, and it shows a better comparison when you have a whole bunch of breakers as far as price comparisons. Me personally, when I was getting into breaks, I prefer the random breaks more, and obviously wish more breakers would do that. It's less effort on our end as well to get the data for that. But I'm assuming the market speaks for itself though. With the PYTs, more breakers or more people buying into breaks prefer that avenue.
Yeah,
Great.
100%. We mainly run randoms. Like the PYTs have
people
just
like that, especially on Instagram.
Our break, the guys that break with us, they love the randoms. The PYTs, it's like a specific buyer for those. So we've actually been struggling to fill the PYTs. The randoms do better for us overall. I think what you guys are.
Yeah, we do need to do a better job of that. Getting more randoms on there. I agree. Great point there.
I think what you guys are doing is great for the smaller breakers as well, showing off it, because a lot of these smaller breakers, we were one of them in the past. We were overlooked, and we're the one, like, I mean, to this day, we're still like grinding our dick off to get product and making sure we have the right stuff on the table and going to great lengths to getting certain products. And when a breaker that's maybe just been only doing it for a year, and he's having prices competitive to the guys that have massive allocations, and where they're seeing, hey, this guy over here is $500-600 less than a PYT, and I know from doing it for so long, I know what that guy's paying. I know what the stores are paying, and I know what that small breaker's paying. Because if that small breaker's not direct from Topps or Panini, I know what the second and third markets are. It's fucking online. If you guys don't know, it's there's a website called DealerNet, and that's where a lot of the prices are coming from.
Yeah.
People go on DealerNet and they see here's the last 3 transactions. This is what I'm going to charge you, so I know what that second market and that third market looks like. I've dealt with it for years, so it's great to highlight those smaller breakers and get those guys exposure. I'm all for it. I think there's plenty of space in the space. There's plenty of space in the space for a lot of people, but. I make the comparison to this on the pricing. I say, you can go to the store and buy a 36 pack of Bud Light for $15, or you can go to the bar and watch the game, see women walk around in skimpy outfits, hang around with your boys at the bar and buy a pitcher of beer where you're getting maybe 4 beers in that pitcher for the same price. So you're paying for the same thing. It's just like, what is going to entail? What's behind that? What are you going to get out of that value? That's why I always bring up the value thing, because I think it's so underrated when you're talking about especially in the breaker aspect of things, because you have so many breakers out there, and I know you want to stay impartial, but I'll be the first one to say there's so many used car salesman breakers out there that they sound, it's so cringy, and it's just like, just be yourself, and I think you'll get more respect from your customers and your buyers, and you'll get people to go, hey, then this is just, I tell people I'm a father of 2. I have daughters. I got I'm still running a business, guys. I'm still operating a business here, but I'm still trying to give you guys the best I possibly can, whether that's through the pricing, through customer service, merchandise, whatever I can. We try to go to great lengths on, we had a guy ripping up with us. He's been breaking with us for the last month. And he hits a big card. He's like, send me a picture. I want to get that on eBay right now. So I'm over there in the corner trying to take clean pictures of the front and the back and sending it to him. Next thing you know, it's on eBay already. The guy hasn't even got the card
value,
yet. Yeah, and that's like a whole nother level of value,
especially on like new releases.
Yeah, new releases is so important. So important. That's a great point.
Get the highest price.
Yeah, the first first worm. What's
early bird gets a worm.
Early bird first worm.
You asked this last
I did
a few days ago.
Dude, I'm so my mind is so fried. So yeah, I think that there's like different levels, and I wanted to have you on because I think other breakers are afraid to talk about it and they might be afraid to have you on or have a discussion about it. I'm not. If I'm the most, and I have ways that I can justify my prices, right? I go, hey, I might be $300 more than this guy, but guess what? When we're live, I'm constantly ticking off numbers on certain teams. There is sort of like a buffer into it where I can go, hey, I have a $200 to $300 wiggle room where I can knock off these teams. Hey guys, you take 2 teams, I'll take $50 off. Hey, you take these 3 shitty teams, I'll take $50 off. So there are like certain things that we can do to like adjust our pricing, right? Because if I went out and just said, hey, this is our prices. Like I sound like a stingy bitch, right? I go, here, my case price is $2,700. Well, can you do it? Nope, fuck you. I ain't discounting shit, right? Or I go, my case price is $3,200. All right, I tell him, hey, you got $400 wiggle room. Just fill it.
Yeah.
Fill it. If people want discounts, throw a discount. Hey, 15 off here, 20 off here, whatever. So I think a lot of people are doing that. They're incorporating that into their prices. Like, hey, we know we're going to discount the shit out of these. We just, we got to kind of have some sort of layout. I also think, I don't know what you see, if you see this, but I think a lot of people use some weird numbers on their PYTs because it is hard for someone to sit there and fucking add up on a calculator all 30 teams when they're running, this 169 and, 48. It's like weird number. I do solid numbers for my fucking sake.
Yeah, there's definitely some odd numbers there. And, to show impartiality to all breakers, we've had a lot of people ask, what's the lowest price before you release the list, and we just have made a rule not to disclose that. Let the individual breakers set their own price. Because I don't want to show favoritism for one breaker to another, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because you give the amount out, and then everyone's going to go under that what you gave out
right,
too. So then everyone's fighting for each other.
Have you seen any? Sorry for the fucking technical difficulties out there. Hey, we're not cutting it out, Josh. Don't cut it.
Oh, I was gonna cut everything out. It was gonna be the spick and spam over here. Yeah.
Have you seen anybody? What's your take on pricing? And like I said, you don't want to like talk about any breakers and stay impartial. Stay impartial. You can. Have you seen a trend in pricing on certain breakers?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
We haven't really dove into the data as far as releasing data reports on that. That's going to more come in the future once we get the technology updated on the back end so we can produce more data. So I can't say for certain, X is X amount percentage higher or anything like that. We with each update we do update the percentage up or down that a breaker will raise or lower the price, per team or in aggregate for all teams. At first, when we first launched, we were just doing prices for individual teams. And I got a lot of feedback that people want to know, an aggregate total, to get a better glimpse at what breakers are actually charging, just not for the top teams, but overall. So that has kind of helped. And we plan to, dive into the data more with that behind the scenes and produce some reports for that.
Yeah, and I saw on one of the posts you did, I think it was the update. You had a lot of people like, "Oh, well, we're the cheapest. Oh, we're the cheap." Like, all right, well, provide your prices. Like tell us give us your prices. But a lot of those people weren't running PYTs. It was specifically for a PYT.
Exactly. Yeah, there's obviously a lot more work on the breakers and dividing those cards out on the back end, for PYT breaks, sorting, shipping out all those different cards, for random, it's a lot less work, I assume, from a breaker standpoint.
It's the same amount of work for random. I mean, because we're running a randomizer. Okay. We're still dividing them out per team. You still have to divide them out per team. It's still the same amount of work. The PYTs are a struggle as a breaker because there's those 10 to 15 teams that just nobody wants. Yeah. So, and then there's those 10 teams that everybody wants. So you have to sort of counteract and balance and kind of go, hey guys, if you take, hey, help us out. Hey, take the Orioles, take the fucking White Sox, I'll give you a deal. Yeah. Take the best. If you're gonna take the best team, take the worst team, and I'll give you a deal. I'll throw you $25 off or whatever it might be. So it is a little bit harder because on the random, it's more just like, hey guys, everybody's in on the same price. You have less negotiation there on the randoms. Unless somebody comes and goes, hey, if I buy 5 spots, are you going to give me a discount? It's like, yeah, I'll give you a discount for 5 spots, but I'm not going to do a discount for 2 because everyone's in at the same price.
Yeah,
so
fair.
And to speak on that real quick, right now, obviously, we're just going off, the asking price. we do want to and plan on doing technology, that takes into account, the group deals, actual sold prices. So we plan on figuring that out, to get, the data, I wouldn't say more accurate, but, from a actual selling standpoint, we want to take that into account as well in the future. It's not going to be, next month that this technology is developed, but my tech team is working on that.
Yeah, that's awesome. And see, I think being able to find the percentages too, because like if you ask me, like, hey, what are you paying for Breakers Delight? I'll tell you right now, it's $215 a box. That's what I'm paid. $215. I'm charging Percy's. We charged last night Fanatics. We charged $240 for Percy's on Fanatics. That's without 10% fees.
Yeah.
So last night I was just like, hey guys, here you go. Like, have at it. I was running by myself, so it's just like, fucking have it. $240? Like, that's the cheapest you're gonna find it. So I think if there was more transparency, which I think what your page is doing is bringing more transparency, and I talk about it a lot on the podcast. Transparency in the hobby is key, because you see when there isn't transparency, the waters get a little murky, and then shit comes out 3, 6, 9 months later, like these shill bidders and like people doing shady deals, and where I've literally been in a room with a deal that went down, which it's the people who were in the deal are way out of the hobby now, so it's irrelevant. But where they did a deal and this guy goes, I'm gonna buy it for this price, but you're gonna tell everyone I paid this price.
Oh yeah.
And I go, and I'm looking, and I'm like, is this normal? Like, I was so ignorant to what's going on. So I think that the whole transparency is super important. It's super important. And we do it all the time on the channel. Hey guys, listen, this is what we fucking paid. This is our cost. Our cost is $8 a team with this wheel and we're spinning. Like, just get it to 8. Like, that's all we ask for. We're not trying to harp you for fucking 15. Just say that's what our cost is. So I think there's I keep going back to this word. There's so many levels to it with the breakers. And I think what you're doing is great because you're helping out those people that are trying to look for the best price. There's a lot out there. There's guys that don't care. They just want it at the best price. Who's charging the lowest amount? I'm going to go there. We have one of our biggest supporters, Alex Efron. He tells me, he's like, hey, if you got the cheapest price, I'm coming to rip with you. Like, plain and simple. He's like, but if this guy's cheaper, like, I'm going to go over there. I'm just being honest. And I'm like, good. I'm glad you're being honest. I want you to be honest with me.
He's doing his research.
Yeah, he's doing his research. But on the flip side of that, there are guys who don't care. They don't care about the price. They care about the experience, and they care about, hey, I know this breaker at the win, lose, or draw, this guy's going to take care of me. And I think that's what more people should be doing and incorporating into their sort of break community. What do you think?
Yeah, and with the kind of the data we put out, if you like the breaker you're with, and you look at the list, and there's a $2 difference, you can get confirmation that I should just stay with the breaker that I'm with, because it's not that big of a difference. So I think we're providing that as well to potential people buying into breaks, just confirmation that they're with the right person. If they're if the price isn't that big of a deal or a big fluctuation between other breakers.
I see that. I agree with that. But also, what you're going to start seeing, and we've already started seeing it, is people coming in and going, oh shit, hey, this guy's got this team for 65, you guys are at 50. Or, hey, this team's at 200, you guys are at 225. Will you price match? Fuck yeah, we'll price match. Take it. If you saw the cheapest at 200, take it. We want the business. So of course we're going to, and I think you're going to start seeing more breakers adjust and try to stay in that sort of median of the prices.
Yeah, I hope so. I've had breakers even tell me, they're trying to hide their price of what they're even charging, and tell me, this just happened on one occasion, but they told me they don't care about being the lowest price, that they don't, obviously they were higher priced and didn't want their price listed. So
Yeah, of
there's
course.
other breakers out there trying to hide even their asking prices, back to when you were speaking on transparency. And obviously we appreciate you being transparent, to the degree that you are, even to the fact that you're disclosing, how much you're buying the product for. That's great for the hobby.
Yeah. I mean, I just overpaid for 2023 Bowman Chrome Hobby. I paid $255 a box and some change. It was like $255, 56 or whatever a box. And then I fucked up. And then I go on DealerNet and the high buy is $240. And I'm like, what the fuck am I doing, man? So then yesterday I was like, Percy's, guys, $300. I said, I paid $255. After the fees, I'll be making like $20, $25 a box. And sure enough, people came in, they were buying boxes. And that kind of transparency, like, I'm fine with. I tell this guy, I'm cool with making $40 a box if you move volume. If I move volume, I'm cool with that.
Work.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'll put the fucking work in. I'll sit there for 8 hours and move 25 boxes. That's good money. That's good money in that short a span. And it's always I've always stressed to him and everybody else on our team that sometimes it's okay to lose, because you'll get to the point where you'll make a money on a break, where it's okay to just lose $20 every box for 10, 12, 20 boxes, because then you'll get to a break where we can make $400 or $500 on that break, and then it kind of counteracts, but it's keeping the live rolling, and it's keeping these people coming in and going, fuck, man, DR is giving out insane deals. I'm just going to I'm going to stay in here. And then that one guy comes in, he hits an absolute nuke, and it's great for the channel. And then we have all these new buyers come in. So I don't understand the whole aspect of like the breakers that just don't come off. They don't want to come off that high horse, and they don't want to come off and they're afraid to be transparent. It's just I'm all for transparency, especially not just in the hobby, just in general. Like, guys, this is what we're paying, this is what we got. Like, just be fair. Just be fair.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So
makes sense. Yeah, I mean, to speak on what you were saying, it's kind of a customer acquisition cost that